Hello, my name is Jim Reynolds, and you are on the Christian Life Empowerment Podcast. Hey, I am here with Angela Whitbeck today, and I'm here with Angela. She's the guest today because Angela and I are planting a church in Oregon City. Well, Angela, I, and quite a few other people are planting the church in Oregon City. And some of you know what we're doing because you've heard our podcast before, but if you're new to this podcast, so here's what I'm trying to do with this particular podcast where Angela and I partner up on the podcast is I want to try to document what Angela and I are going through as we're starting this church. Because what we would really like is to see people start churches all over the world. And not necessarily be anything like this church, but hey, this could be a model that somebody else could use to possibly start a church somewhere else. So Angela, we are, how far into this are we? When did we start?
I moved in April and we started, I think, the end of that month or maybe May 20. Well, that's when we started meeting. We actually started talking about it January of 2020.
Well, yeah, probably January of 2020. I remember I went to I talked to the Oregon Conference, and they asked me to go to a series in Florida that talked about church planting. And then I got all kinds of books that I was reading about church planting, and I had these big ideas of what a church plant would be. And then after I went to Florida and came back, boom, COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
And everything that we thought a church plant would be kind of just went out the window.
Well, yes and no. Yes, it did go out the window because we had so many restrictions and so many things we couldn't do. But I say no because technically our church does not launch or doesn't start. Our official start date is this September. So we have the ability this past year with everything going on to try things, to experiment before we actually open the church doors.
Yeah.
So that has been an immense blessing on God's timing.
It has been. It has been. One of the things I was thinking about the other day is I was all these books I read about church planting, and two of the books I believed I read, one of the things they said is don't start early. Don't be tempted to start early. But when COVID hit and all the churches shut down, and we decided, we're gonna see what we can do and start experimenting, as you say, we kind of went against what I was being advised. One of the biggest advices I got is don't start early. Well, yeah, that's what we did.
Well, and you and I are kind of, I don't want to say rebels, but we tend to push or question why things are done a certain way, or we're a little outside the box.
And we got to learn things the hard way sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this isn't one of those times. I'm really hoping this isn't one of those times.
I think it's been really successful what we've been doing.
Yeah. Well, and part of the success, I believe, is the people coming to the church. And people that wouldn't be coming to a church, or people that aren't, probably wouldn't even be coming to a church at all, except they're coming where we're at. So, if we didn't have this for the last, almost a year now, people wouldn't have been building that relationship with God, at least in a church.
Yeah.
They may have been building it another way. I don't know. I don't want to take any credit for, what people have done, but
I can say for me personally, it's helped build my relationship because I struggle a lot to listen to a sermon or to watch one online. And having this group where, one of the things that we do different is we don't do sermons. So having the discussion has helped me build my relationship with God over this past year, when honestly, if we hadn't been doing this, I wouldn't be attending anywhere, or I might not be building that relationship. So this has helped me, along with I think other people.
Well, if that's all we did, that alone, and then everything dropped out and didn't work, I think that it was worth it. I think it was worth starting when we did. And some of you might have heard, yes, we don't do sermons. And that's kind of odd. It's funny because, last week, it was my first week that I'd been away. Since we started, it was my first time away. And I got to tell you, I checked up on you. Okay. Not really. Well, I called a couple friends of mine that were also at this church, the people in Warrenton that have been joining us. So we have a little home group in Warrenton that's been joining our home group, and then we have other people on Zoom that join us. So what we do is we have a church service in Angela's backyard. We have an awning, and we have heaters, and we've been through the winter, and so I called. I talked to the people in Warrenton. I said, well, how'd the church service go last week? It's the first one I hadn't been to. Oh, they said, just wonderful. Well, great. I guess I didn't even need to be there, but I was.
Yeah. And that's one of the advantages of doing it the way that we do is you're not reliant on a pastor or a sermon. If one person is gone, the system doesn't fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's spectacular because not one person is carrying this large load. And I think a lot of pastors carry this huge, I don't want to say burden, but it's a responsibility to have a sermon written every week and to shepherd their congregation. And, that's great and that works for some people. But I think what we're doing is really, it's unique in the fact that burden doesn't lay on one person. Mm-hmm. And you can go and either go on vacation or go to do a sermon at another church, and we still meet and we still have a good meeting.
Yeah. And so for you, those of you that don't know, what Hills and Valleys does here in Oregon City is we get together. And now our format so far has been we get together and then we have kind of an icebreaker question where we ask people what their aha moment for the week was, because what we really try to encourage people to do is personal devotion, personal time in the Bible throughout the week. And then we ask them what they may have gotten out of that personal devotion time. And that usually takes up a little bit of time, doesn't it?
Yeah, we spend probably a good 20 to 30 minutes talking about our aha moments. And sometimes, some days are more, some days a little less. But we average about 20 to 30 minutes.
I think, and I think some days it could go on the whole time if we let it.
Yeah.
We kind of got to stop it so we can get into our study. And so our study is straight out of the Bible. Mm-hmm. What we do is we read a Bible story. And there's hundreds of Bible stories in the Bible, and we've chosen to start at the front and just start reading the Bible stories through the Bible, and we'll read the Bible story. Well, first of all, we talk about the aha moments, and then sometimes we'll have a song because we're not supposed to be singing right now, and so we have a song. We play a music video of a Christian song. And then we'll have a children's story that covers the Bible story we're going to read, so that when we have children, and we always have people that, are kind of new to the Bible, so the Bible, the cartoon Bible story, they really appreciate.
Yeah, so it's a little Bible video on YouTube that we find that applies to the story that we're reading. And these are great because, I find myself not only chuckling at some of the antics that they have, but also I'm learning things, or it points out things that I didn't realize because it's on kind of a basic level. So it's an introductory level that gets the kids involved because it's a cartoon, but it also works for adults who may have had little to no exposure to the Bible and they don't know what it's talking about. So it's kind of an overview summary video that piques your interest, and then from there we do a little archaeology and we dig into the Bible and get some more details and more facts.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get a lot of discussion with people, different ideas and different ways of looking at things, and so we've been trying. So what we do not do is preach doctrines. One of the things that we've really wanted to do is make sure that anybody that came in for the first time, these people may not have ever heard of the Bible before, may never have known anything about Jesus, may not know, and may not have ever walked inside of a church except for a wedding or a funeral. If they walk inside of our church, inside of whatever we're calling church, if they walk inside of this, we want them to feel completely comfortable and at ease. And so if we're pressing dogmas on them, or doctrinal issues that may be something really unfamiliar with them. For instance, we're Seventh-day Adventists, and this is a Seventh-day Adventist church, but we're not going to harp on somebody about how they should act on Sabbath, or that the seventh day is the Sabbath, and this is the day that you worship. I mean, we're not going there. But the thing is you don't need to, because as you go through the Bible stories, people can talk about their emotions, their feelings, their relationship to those stories. And I don't know, Angela, what do you think about how we relate to new people and people that aren't of the same denomination as we are?
Well, I think the way our group is, our core group right now is very open and accepting, and I think the camaraderie that we have creates an atmosphere where somebody who has no exposure to the Bible or has no knowledge can come in and join one of our discussions and does not feel that they can't ask a question. So, I mean, we've had a couple of visitors come in who have shared personal experiences that they've had that related to our Bible study, and they were comfortable enough to do that without any prompting because of the environment that we've created. So it's not like Bible thumping or throwing, like you said, doctrine in your face and pushing it down your throat. It's learning what the Bible has to say and being comfortable enough to ask questions, hard questions or not.
Now. And the thing is we're still open. For instance, right after Angela and I do this podcast, we're doing a Bible study. And the Bible study goes into the teachings of the Bible. I mean, it goes into doctrinal issues. It's a different type of Bible study in that it doesn't press anything upon you. It simply opens up the verses and asks you questions type of Bible study. But still, you learn what the Bible says about these doctrinal issues. And you know what? If you believe your doctrines are true, then you should be able to show that to somebody else in the Bible, and they should be able to see it too. And if not, then, God's not bringing them to that place. So there's millions and billions of Christians, and there's millions and billions of ways of looking at the Bible. And I know that I know what I believe, but I just don't, I still know that there could be some things that I'm wrong on. And so I don't want to say, whatever I say is the only way to do it. There's 1,000 ways to look at it, and we got to let God lead us. One of the things I'm kind of excited about is we're almost through the winter, right?
Yes.
So we've been in the backyard under an awning
with heaters and blankets.
With heaters and.
Yeah, we actually didn't bring them out this last Sabbath because the sunshine was out, and we're like, oh, it's so great. But, of course, the sunshine doesn't hit my patio until the afternoon, so we were in the shade and still a little cold.
Yeah.
Wishing we had the heaters.
I was wondering.
But we're getting to the point where we won't need to put that up anymore.
Yeah, but we made it. We made it through the winter. People are saying, yeah, how are you going to do the winter? Yeah. Well, you just do it.
Rain and wind and chainsaws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've had a lot of things happen, but it hasn't stopped us. So, the Lord's been guiding us, and I think we've been trying to listen and trying to follow where He leads.
Now, we did miss last Sabbath. Was the first Sabbath we missed? Not last Sabbath. Sabbath before.
2 or 3. Because of the ice storm.
Well, because the ice storm. Yeah, we had 100-year ice storm, and so we aren't the only church that missed that. I tell you, but we did miss it. So moving forward. I mean, we've gotten through the winter. We've gotten through the last year with COVID. We've gotten through the political minefield of COVID, and we found out kind of some neat things that we want to do as far as how to have a relational church that doesn't have sermons. How do you see us moving forward right now? What is the next steps that we need to take?
Well, I think my biggest goal is to get more exposure in Oregon City. So you've been working really hard on Yelp and Google to get us out there and recognized so that when somebody searches for a church in Oregon City, that we at least show up on the list. So just getting getting more exposure, getting more involved in the community so that the community of Oregon City knows that we're here and knows what we're all about.
Yeah. Well, and you've been doing a lot of work on Facebook.
Yeah.
So your Facebook posts have been going out every day, right?
Right. So every morning I try to find a quote or a Bible verse or a thought that kind of strikes me, and I will post that on both Facebook and Instagram and shoot that out. And our members have been, sharing it and liking it, and we've actually had a couple people, like our page and start following us.
Well, how many followers do we have now? We got a few hundred, don't we? I mean, it's nothing extravagant like Amazing Facts or It Is Written or any of those guys, but those guys have like 143,000 followers.
So our Instagram only has 49 followers so far. But our Facebook, I'm not sure.
I think we have over a couple hundred. Hey, so, and here's something. So anybody out there that's a guru with this Facebook and Instagram and knows how to really work this system to try to get more followers and more people, hey, let us know. You can always go to ultimatemission.net. That's ultimatemission.net, and there's a contact page, and my phone number's on it. My phone number, 503-891-6040. Give me a call. I mean, some people hesitate to put that out there, but I do it. I just, there's just not that many people that give you a call. I put my phone number on TV. I have. It's my cell phone number. Guess what? I get like 5 calls, if I was Garth Brooks or something, I wouldn't be able to do it, but I'm Jim Reynolds. So guess what? I could throw my number out on put it behind an airplane up in the sky, and not many people are going to call. It's just how it is. How many do we have?
213 Facebook followers.
Okay, 213. So we only started this a little bit ago. So that's not horrible.
And we've tried a couple of events. We had a Christmas event where we did a live video stream or a watch party. So that helped, and we're getting ready to. I think we've been talking about offering a community disaster program to help when disaster strikes, because it seems that we've had one after the other.
One disaster. I know. I was having a meeting with the chief of police for Gladstone the other day, and he was going, and he got, he was hired right at the end of 2019. Yeah. And he was like, ever since I've been hired, it's just been one, I don't know what's next. And so he's very excited about this disaster preparedness program. Mm-hmm. So we've actually got books. We've got these water purification tablets that go in the back of books. And it's actually one of the easiest outreaches I've ever done. And so what we're going to try to do is figure out a way that we could do it here in Oregon City. And but that is one of the outreaches we're going to try to do. We've had a couple other outreaches that we've done, and really that's part of what we want to do is what outreach. And what, we're going to try doing the disaster preparedness thing for church.
Yes, do that as a church service so
right.
that we can, just introduce people to us at our normal meeting time.
Right. But we won't do a church service. Right. So we won't do the song, we won't do the, all the other aha moments and all that. We'll just do the outreach and try to get people in. So I mean some people may frown on that, but I think that's pretty cool. I think that's, what are we supposed to be doing on Sabbath?
Reaching out to the community.
Right. So
reaching out
that's
to
what we're
help
going to
others.
do. Yeah. So Angela and I are trying something different. We've been going to churches for a while, and it's, especially me, I've been going longer for the Adventist church. Mm-hmm. But But we're really trying to find a way to reach people that wouldn't normally come to a church, that wouldn't feel comfortable coming to a traditional church. So we are working as hard as we can to try to figure out how to organize this church to be able to do that. Now, later in the year, we hope to move into a building and try to keep the same small group style that we're doing now. And so we see that by having like round tables, and we'll have people at round tables and have their own little small groups. But we haven't got it figured out completely, but we've got ideas. And what we're trying to do right now is document these ideas, where we've come, where we're going. So if anybody else would like to start a church, plant a church, that you can, kind of learn from our mistakes. And if we have some successes, we'll tell you about those too. But also, if you would like to be part of a church plant, we would really like to get up to around 60 people before we start in September. And so if you would like to be part of something that's exciting, we're doing something in the Philippines too. Tell them about what we're doing in the Philippines.
So part of Ultimate Mission is they have some health workers over in the Philippines, and we've connected with one of their coordinators who is looking to do cooking classes to help people, look at nutrition and be healthier. And we are sending some care packages with cooking supplies and kitchen utensils and clothes that people can wear to church and toothbrushes. Yeah. And just we've got 2 huge boxes going to the Philippines this week, and this is going to be a continuous program. It's not just a one and done type thing. We are supporting this ministry in the Philippines.
Well, and it's funny you talk about cooking classes, because when you do cooking classes in the United States, it's because people are too fat, right? Yeah. You're trying to help people to lose weight and to get their blood pressure down. But when you do cooking classes in the Philippines, it's because the children are malnourished. There's a huge percentage of children in the Philippines that are malnourished. And so you try to do cooking and nutrition classes so the parents can know the right food to give their children to keep them healthy. So that's a neat thing that we're doing. And we just feel that if people have a purpose, that they'll be incentivized, that they'll be motivated to build that relationship with God and the rest of the church. And so that's what we're trying to do. And like I said, if anybody would like to be a part of this, to give us ideas, if you want to start a church yourself and you'd like to talk to Angela and I and see what we might have to say, and we can give you some tips on what not to do or what to do, get a hold of ultimatemission.net. Go to ultimatemission.net and go to the contact page, or call me 503-891-6040. And we will, Angela, we're going to meet. We got a Bible study here in about 15 minutes. We got to get ready for it. So this is another thing we're doing. We have a Bible study here in Oregon City, and it's on Zoom right now because of COVID. Hopefully it'll be over with soon. But the COVID, not the Bible study. But hey, I will talk to you all again soon. Thank you for joining me today, and you have a wonderful, wonderful week. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.